Alessio Izzo.
Hello, everyone. Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for Python Milano for hosting this, and also Octopus for hosting this meetup. So before starting, we just want to gather some data from you. So know your audience. So since we are talking about coding interview, I just want to understand who you are. So I know that maybe there are some sensitive information, so I'm asking you to close your eyes and raise your hand if you are in the middle of a hiring process. Because my CTO is here, so I cannot do it. But I know that maybe you know each other, so I don't know. So if you want to share, so just to understand who I'm talking to. So who is in the middle of a hiring process? Nobody. Great. Okay. Hiring process. I mean getting hired. Okay. I searched the internet. Hiring process is the hiring process in general. The recruitment process is from the company point of view, but I think that maybe it's both. I think it's. And who has ever been an interviewer? Oh, okay. Okay, great. So thanks. So the talk is who needs to crack the coding interview? Because I was asking myself if the person who is looking for a new job, of course, needs to crack the coding interview, but I was thinking that also the companies should crack the coding interview. And so this is kind of the takeaways that I'd like to give to you at the end of the talk. So companies should, people should invest time and money in when looking for a new job, but companies should do it too. So this is a very important step, both for the people who are looking for a new job and for the company. So cracking the coding interview. So I took the clickbait name of the talk from this book that's really famous. So this is like the introduction, the claim of the book. I don't know if you read this book. So this is the second part of your audience. I think maybe you know this book. You have seen the first page, I think, but I don't know who read this book actually. Okay. Okay, this is a great book, so large book. So who thinks that this is useful? Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. And who hates this kind of questions or interviews? Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. So I have to admit that when I start thinking about this topic or this talk, I did not read this book yet, but I said maybe I should take a look, and so I read it. Let's say I've not read all of the book. I just read the first part, so the introduction, the preface. But I found, yeah, it's enough. It was enough for this talk. I read it and I found something that was unexpected because she's gay. She's the author of the book, and she said something that I was not expecting. So, for example, she said, "This book is not for everyone, every company or every situation." Also, I've learned that a lot of interviewers are using this book to learn how to interview. That wasn't really the book intention. In fact, I was thinking that a lot of companies ask this kind of interviews because they read this book and they said, we should ask these questions during the interviews to understand if the person, the candidate, is good for us. And also, she said, don't ask the exact same question in here. So she warned give us some kind of warning about it. Okay, but what kind of interview? Just to say, for example, this is one of a question that I got during an interview. I don't remember the company, but it's okay. So, for example, it's write a function that takes a list as an argument and returns the most common element of that list. It looks pretty simple, pretty easy. So, kind of this exercise. But when I was during the interview, I know that right now it looks easy, but during interviews, like, hey, at least maybe there is a one-liner to solve the problem. Okay, the one line I got the one liner, but it's O and square, so maybe it's not good, not so good. Should I use counter? So I did a lot of things. In the end, I got it. So I got the right. The right answer, let's say, the optimal answer, but even if this kind of question looks really easy, they are given the situation you are, they become difficult. So just giving some quick tips. I don't know, maybe if you are not in hiring process, I don't know if you are interested in, but I prepared the slide, so you take it. So don't, what I learned from this book and also from having a lot of interviews was don't start writing the code. Don't be quiet, so don't stay silent. Okay, thank you. And don't go for the optimal solution right away. Instead, ask clarifying questions. So try to understand the problem. Speak out loud. And also solve the problem and optimize later. So and also think about edge cases. The solve first, optimize later was really hard to understand, because to me, I always try to find the optimal solution. But then I realized that also during my daily job, what I try to do is try to have something that works, and then try to build on it, try to understand how to optimize what I've done. But what also the interviewer tried to understand is that if the person wants to arrive to a solution and then optimize. So why this thought? So I'm not so good at this kind of interview. But I want to become better at this, so I want to improve my skills. But I always in the middle of somewhere. So like, is it worth to become good at solving this kind of problems of this exercise? So what I understood for myself is that I know that I'm not a performer in this kind of situation. I'm not so good. And so I was asking myself, but am I a good developer? Am I a good software engineer if I cannot solve this kind of problems? But since I want to become this, there is a good news. It's all about practice. So somebody will say practice, but it's like a quote, whatever. And the internet is full of great material, maybe too much. In fact, everybody maybe knows HackerRank, LeetCode, or whatever. There are a lot of good, websites that gives you the opportunity to improve these skills. But so, which is good. But sometimes, it's hard to find the path in order to understand how to become better, and how to understand if you are really ready to have an interview, such that. Is it worth? So it depends, of course, as Lorenzo said before. It depends, but it is a standard for a lot of big companies, like Fang or Mang, or I don't know, Mema, how you want to call it. But you learn some common ways to solve problems. So what I learned trying to practice on HackerRank, for example, I understand that there are a lot of things that I didn't know because maybe I didn't have the need to use it during my daily job. So, for example, I don't know, I have never used a linked list in during my daily job. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not good. But I understand and I learn what is a linked list, or at least I know that there is something that is called linked list. So you can understand and can learn a lot of algorithms that maybe you never use, but they're useful maybe for something that you are working on. And you can improve your skills. So you can learn something new, and which is always always great. So is it worth? Yes. And so first check on takeaways. People should invest time and money when looking for a new job. I already put the check, so you cannot say no. But so for me, if you want to look for a new job and you want to, for whichever companies, I think that you should invest time, of course, to study, but also money, because if you want to have quality content, maybe you should. It's like an investment, so I think that it works. But then I got the epiphany, Yeah, that one. I was like that. So I was saying that, do I really want to work for these companies? So I really want to learn things that matter for them, and just for the interview maybe. And the other question that I asked myself was like, about why do the company that ask this question ask this question? So they are aware, they know what they are doing or not. And for example, there are a lot of memes in the web, in the internet, and I always laugh at this because well, make the button bigger or more blue, maybe it's the same, or just like that, coding interviews, actual work, or stuff like that. Tech interview, do a lot of things, and then you fix typo or stuff like that. So okay, just a disclaimer. I just wanted to put the office meme in the presentation. So, but I'm not saying that you should be arrogant when you're doing an interview. Always stay humble. Always be humble. That's my rule of thumb. But just try to not try to understand who you are and who you are talking to. So this is so I started interviewing. For example, this is actually what happened in the interview. They asked me, what are meta classes in Python? I didn't know, but I said, have you ever used in your code? No, but I know that somebody else did. Okay. And so I said, hold on. Wait a minute. And I remember a quote by Tim Peters that you can look at it, but basically say that meta classes. If you think that you need meta classes, you don't need meta classes. 99%. So some hold-on examples. These used to be red flag as examples, but I thought maybe red flag is too much. They're not red flags to me. It's like, wait a minute, let me think about it. So for example, static method versus class method. I don't know if you have ever been asked this question. I was asked it by an HR person, so it was really hard to answer. List comprehension. This is one of my favorite. A lot of times I say, do you know what the list comprehension is, how it works? Okay, maybe I know, maybe I don't know. There is the internet. The fact that I put list comprehension here is that because I've seen use list comprehension very badly, like, underscore equals this comprehension. Okay, because they are faster. Yeah. Okay. And also mutable versus immutable. I think that's one of the common questions that a lot of people get. So I've got enough topic here. I think, okay. No. Uh, I cannot share this other screen. Okay, so it's my fault. Okay, not a problem. So the fact is that you can go to this link, and basically, yeah, we have. So this is the whole URL. Basically, I was, I think, yesterday years old when I understand that I didn't know what immutable is, and the fact is that, for example, I found a very strange case where you have a tuple, and you can have a tuple that is mutable, because if you have, for example, if you have a tuple which has a list as an element, and you modify the list, you have the tuple which that is modified. So it maintains the same ID, it's the same object, but it's not the same. So it's not the same thing. So, and I think I found this article that explain this. I think that I understand the problem, the situation. So check, and maybe you can in our next interview you can say, I know this. This is an old but gold. I don't know if you know Joy Gross. This is I put it in here, but it's like a Fitzbus in TensorFlow. So he made a lot of he made a book on it, made a lot of speech, a lot of talk about it. So it's basically I don't remember if this is a situation where he actually which actually happened or not, but the fact is that he is a senior developer, let's say, I don't know, senior engineer, and he was asked by an interviewer if he knows the Fizzbus, and so he starts saying, maybe we should try to solve it with TensorFlow, and it did. So, but it's really funny, and so I just want to list to what's an hold on for me. For example, the interviewer asked an already heard question. What is an already heard question? Is a question that you keep hearing during your interview. So maybe it's your first year in programming, and they ask you a question, and during your fifth year in programming, you've been asked the same question. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it's strange that they keep asking this question. They could look into the internet to have the answer, so I don't know why. So another thing is that when the interviewer doesn't know all the answer, so I was in this situation. So we asked a question like how to walk to all the files and all the directories into a folder, for example. So it's like a recursive kind of thing. And but the person said there is like os.walk in Python that do the job recursively, automatically, recursively, and we said, yeah, we were not thinking about it, so try to solve it recursively, but we were wrong because he solved the problem. He solved the problem better than us because we didn't know that. So that's not good. Also, two specific questions. For example, how do you do this in Django or Flask or whatever? I don't like this kind of question because it's like, okay, maybe you don't know a particular framework, but it's okay. I know that maybe the company wants a person that that already knows a lot of things about the architecture, but to me it's like maybe I can learn about it. So And also visible confusion in the job description. So I mean visible confusion. It's like when there are a lot of things that don't match. So yeah, we are I don't know how to say, leader of the leader of settore, sector leader, a company leader of the sector. It's like we do a lot of things. We are really great, etc., etc., etc. And basically they don't say anything. So it's like it's like a hold on situation to me. So another point of view. So this is a quote. So it's like hiring is the single most important activity in any organization. And also this is longer, but it's like we found that brain teasers are a complete waste of time. How many golf balls can you fit into an airplane? I don't know if somebody asked you, but how many gas stations in Manhattan are a complete waste of time? They don't predict anything. They serve primarily to make the interviewer feel smart. Some of our interviewers still asking. I'm trying to get them stopped. So these quotes are from Laszlo Block, which is a former SVP. It's like senior vice president, I guess, of people operation at Google. I know that talking about hiring process at Google right now, it's not a great thing, but I was thinking, I read a book written by Laszlo Block in November. They didn't made the layoffs, so I was, bear with me. So even at Google, they are a big company, but they the first quote is like what I was I'd always think about. So hiring is the most important activity in your organization. And so what I like during an interview, what I like that the companies should do during interviews, you actually write or look at the code. So at the beginning of my career, let's say, I didn't like the live interviews, live coding interviews. I preferred the home assignment, let's say. But later I understand that maybe it's better to work with the other person, because it gives you the opportunity to understand how the other person is going to work with you. So this is good for the company, of course, but also for you to understand how you can really, if you can work on a daily basis with the other person. No home assignment if not paid. So because you know and you talk about tests. It's not common, this one, but if you do a coding interview and you never talk about tests, maybe it's like you should think about it. Maybe you should tell or ask the people that they are interviewing you, why are we talking about tests? And also I like when the company has a public GitHub repo, or GitHub or GitLab or whatever. So because it shows that they want to to share what they do, and also to give something back, which is really valuable to me. And engineering, okay, it's written right. Too many E's. Also an engineering blog. When I try to look for a new job or search for companies, I always try to understand what they do is like public having a GitHub repo, a public GitHub repo. So try to understand if they share something with the community. I think it's really great. Also, what I like, the interviewer wants you to succeed and not to look smart. Also transparency. So it's okay not to be awesome. Everybody have some, great things and bad things, and also sharing the bad things is well, companies should do more often, maybe. And yeah, do not pretend what you're not. You're still not. You still are not. Okay. So please don't say. I don't like when companies say we are great, and then maybe you always need to improve. So an explicit interview process, of course. which is better than implicit, but it's like I've been in situations where, you know, I started and I didn't know how long was the road. And so it's like, it's gonna be 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, I don't know. But if I know how many steps are in the interviewing process, it's helped me to understand a lot of things about the company. No ghosting, of course, but you know, this is a common thing. And also feedbacks, positive and negative, of course. That because this is great because it shows that you care. Because maybe you are not a right person for them right now, but maybe you can you can be that person in the future. And so a feedback or a negative feedback, for example, can help you understand which are your weaknesses, and then you can work on it. So it's really valuable. And also rejection interview. One time, an interviewer set 15 minutes after he said that I was not good for the job to tell me to review the interview and told me you should improve this, or I think that you're not as good, you're not good in this part, but you did great in that part. So it was really helpful for me. Yeah, why a company should invest in the recruitment process? It's an opportunity to better understand their own company, because if you, it's like doing some retrospective on who you are and on your team and what you need. So it's really important for the company. It's like a business card for the company. So it's like they show it's like a facade, you know, to the world. So it's really important for that reason. And also, of course, you risk to lose great people and vice versa. So this is the other takeaway. Company should do it too. Yeah, I think you all agree. I think you cannot do it. Yeah. Okay. So 2 books for thought, of course, Cracking the Coding Interview and Work Rules, which is the book from Laszlo Bock. There is one chapter when he talks about how the Google hire people. So if you're interested in that chapter, you can read it and then feed back to Amazon. But you know, I read it this time. I read all the book. So and so it's your turn. Have you got questions or you want to share something? And so thank you, of course.
Hello, thanks for the talk. Have you ever given an interview? What is your interview process?
Okay, yeah, I've been an interviewer, I think not so many times, but since I'm really interested in this topic, I've studied a lot, and I also had a lot of retrospective on myself. So the first thing that I do is try to understand who we need in the team. So try to understand if we need a person that is, you know, a coder, let's say, or it's maybe he has to work with people and try to gather requirements, let's say. So it's like more an architecture thing. So try to understand that, and based on that, we try to I try to create the exercise, let's say. So we basically had an interview of 1 hour, let's say, and about 30 or 40 minutes on the exercise, when we ask, of course, questions, Python related question, but was like icebreaker, just to easy question, let's say, not static method and class method, of course, but other ones, and then we hands on the code and then try to solve the problem, as I said before. But I like when this is like a simulation of the a real world, a real a daily job. So because I have to understand if I can work with this person, and so I have to understand if, for example, as I said before, you start writing the code without telling me anything. Because I really like working in pair programming or more programming. So if I have to work with this person, maybe it's like he writes 500 rows of code in 1 minute, but I basically didn't understand what he does. It's not really valuable to me. So I try to understand first who we need for the team, and then try to simulate the environment that we are going to where we're going to work.
Sorry, follow-up question. How long is it an interview that simulates your daily job?
How long it's? I think maybe it depends on what you want to do on the exercise, but basically I like when the interview is like 30 minutes long. Maybe more it becomes, I don't know, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I always like when having a time for the questions for the other person, because he needs data to understand if he also like, and also having feedbacks maybe during it and the end. And also I'd like to understand what kind of questions, of course, the other person, and what is he is really interested in. So, for example, if the question is, do you use unit tests, do you write tests, or what your CI/CD, etc., it gives me some information. If the first question is how many days of vacation you have in your year, in the year, it's like, okay, that's an information. I'm not saying that you should not ask this kind of question, but it's like to understand who I have in front of me.
Okay, so you were talking about the hold on moments. Can you list some of the wow, that's great moment when you are interviewing with companies? So that little things that make you think, hey, that's cool.
Okay, I think I lost the. Okay. For example, when we there are companies that gives you in maybe the first email when you talk to the HR person, gives you an email with all the details of what you are going to do and what they are expecting from you. So, for example, one time I got a Notion document. I don't know, it's like a Notion document where there are some information about the company, but a lot of information. For example, in this step, which is the interview with the HR, we are going to ask some behavioral questions. So we are interested in some that in the the first coding, technical interview. We are interested in this kind of thing, and then later with the manager, we are interested in this kind of thing. So it helps you to prepare for the interview because it's like they're giving you the instruments to understand, to prepare, to succeed. Yeah, to succeed. Thank you. For example, I took this example because I was thinking, wow, they have done everything for me and I failed. But I interviewed for Amazon, and they've got 2 or 3 pages when there are a lot of resources. There is like a path. So you should do this, you should do this, you should do this other one, and there are examples, there are video examples. There are examples on the system design interview, example of the coding interview. There are a lot of things, and they share a lot of information in order you to succeed. So this is really valuable. During the interview, I like when the other person talks with you, because when if you have a problem like write something that write a list and etc. And nobody speaks with you, it's like okay, I'm alone. So I'm thinking that I'm going to be alone on my daily job. So I like when there is like a conversation, because if they know that this is an interview, so it's like not a normal situation. So if they help you, it's really valuable to me, at least. But it depends on the people. So if maybe somebody likes to, and also maybe on the job that you are going to do. Because if you are going to work on, not on a team, but maybe you're working alone, like a lone ranger, I don't know how to call it, but like say, okay, you're working alone, maybe you don't need to talk with anybody, because there is no anybody. So thank you. I think I'm going to repeat the question. Okay.
So if I think about a person, an exceptional person for an exceptional job, is someone who can deeply focus and someone who can see stuff that other cannot see and is very passionate about this. You can get an exceptional job for this, or we all think in our company that person that become a pillar and change the way, can change stuff in the way we build the stuff. So if you want to look for this kind of person, and you want this kind of person because it can really change the way you do stuff, I don't see how sorting or looking into a list can help. So just the fact that he was focused in preparing the interview. So I mean, in many of the stuff that you described, still I don't see. Maybe should be 90% looking what he did in his GitHub or what else. Because if I now think about these exceptional people that I've seen in my career, they all have a super created GitHub, a super connected network. Maybe that's not always the case. So isn't that many times we are just focusing on noise in interview and all this interview recipe that are not really going to the point?
Yeah, I think that one of the problem, and one of the things that I didn't address in this talk, is that I was focused on the cracking the coding interview. So the thing that you should study for an interview just to get the job. Of course, as you said, this kind of interviews doesn't tell you anything. And for example, one time my tech interview was the person, the interviewer, told me, I didn't prepare anything, but I want to go to your GitHub, tell me, pick one of your projects, and then explain to me, try to understand, because I want to try to understand what you have done. So this is really great. And one of the things that I like is that, as I said, the company should have a public GitHub repo. Of course, it depends on what on the person that you want to hire, but of course, contributing to open source project and stuff like that, I think that they gives you a lot of information about how the person actually work with other people that maybe don't know. So that's really great. But the thing is that maybe that kind of questions are focused mainly on maybe on my experience, but to not to take people that are going to change the way they think, but since they are the standardized question, I think that they are addressed for that kind of people. So the people that you said they learn, they study for that interview. And also all of these companies, the FANG like companies, they have this concept of the bar raiser, so they try to hire a person that is is better than all the other people that are in the team. Better in some sense, not because it's like impossible because at a certain point you have to hire Guido Barroso maybe, but when you reach that level, maybe Microsoft get it. But you know, they think in that way. But the thing is that, as I said, I don't know if this kind of question helps you. But I don't know what kind of questions helps you to find this kind of people. I don't know, because they're really hard, because you should exit your comfort zone. But it's really hard, because as an interview, maybe this is the part that is missing from the presentation. The company should invest, but also invest time and money to prepare the technical people to having an interview, because a lot of time I saw people that maybe are good developers, but they are not good interviewers. This is you know, this is bad for me, but also for the other people, also for the company, because maybe you are great, but you didn't show to me. So I hope I answered your question. Thanks for the question. Disclose this. You have already asked the question. I don't have any answer for machine learning question.
No,
I don't know anything.
I'm not going to ask that. First of all, I would like to thank you for the talk, because it was just a lot of fun. Maybe an idea, if you want to learn about meta classes and static method against class method and other kind of similar topics, there is a great YouTube channel. It's called mCoding, and it does short videos talking about these kind of topics. He's very good at explaining this stuff. Yeah, like meetup coding. And then comes a question, of course. So in our experience, we saw lots of very good developers panicking during the coding interview, because let's be honest, it's just scary when you have like 30 minutes to solve a problem. Even though the problem might be easy, it's just scary, the situation. So as an interviewer, what can you do, in your opinion, to make the candidate as comfortable as possible? We do have a psychologist in the company, and we did not crack that problem. So if you can give us some suggestion, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks. Let's say that, as I said, I'm not so experienced. I'm not so. I've never done so many interviews, but I like to suggest this thing. So, for example, at the beginning, just try, as I said before, some kind of ice-breaking questions. Just maybe, you know, tell me something that you like in this a project that maybe you work on, and maybe you like working on in Python or whatever. Doesn't matter, because the thing is like to as you said, maybe they are panicking, so try to create a situation where they are not, do not fear anything. It's not easy. It's not easy, but try to let them know that we are not here to judge the person, but we are here to have a conversation. So this is maybe one advice that I can give. And I also like when, for example, in our interviews, I prepared an exercise. It was like a sample function, a very simple function, sorry, with a test case. And then I said, okay, maybe the clients told us that we found a bug. So it's like showing the traceback and try to debug in the code. And together we try to understand the problem and try to refactor things. And also try to understand if the person knows some basics about tests. But what I think that really helps the other person is having a conversation. So let them know that they are not under judgment. So but it depends of the people. Maybe a different person panics for another reason. So I don't know, but yeah, it's really hard. But that's why I like when. But you know, you understand if you do a lot of interviews, which I'm not saying okay tomorrow go interviews for everybody, but if you do a lot of interviews, you try to understand. You start looking at looking some patterns, and so you can spot the interviewer that has a lot of experience in it, and the person who is like okay, we need to interview that person, go there and ask some questions about meta classes. You can understand that you can spot the difference, and from the interviewee point of view, it makes the difference. So that I think that's the thing is that try to have a relaxed conversation. It's going to be great. Thank you. I'm going to repeat.
Thank you for sharing that the interviews was an occasion to understand something about the company and, for example, why they are competitive. And the other question was, do you think that the co-pilot and the project-based, let's say, the skill set necessary for our job, and so do they impact the interview, and how does it behave?
Yeah, it's all about practice. So if you work with this kind of tool, but I think that's really different when you try to work with like a Google Doc. Try to work on a Google Doc, which is different working with PyCharm, for example, or VS Code. Which is just the autocomplete functionality is really. It's really hard to understand that there is not in the Google Docs environment. It depends because this kind of interviews, the technical interviews, or certain kind of technical interviews are a completely different things from what you do in your daily job. So it's like practicing. So if you practice on HackerRank, for example, you don't have this kind of tool, and so you are going to keep you're going to be to improve your skill without using the other tools. But maybe some companies don't want that you use this kind of tool. For example, I heard that Google told people that they cannot use ChatGPT, for example. So, or Google or Amazon, I don't know, but they forbid, I think, people from using this kind of tool. So, because they're not, because they do not, yeah, no, because maybe they do not develop this thing. So. Okay. Okay, so this is an example. So maybe, but when you prepare for this kind of interview, I think that you should not work with this kind of tools. So